Can you tell that this is an ad? The product is facing the camera. Very intentional choice. It feels like we're going so far trying to emulate this Tradwife lifestyle that we are coming out on the other side back into wasteful consumerism. So you want to be a Tradwife? Well, all you're gonna need is hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am so happy you found your way here. My name is Carolyn, and on this channel, we are diving into the wild world of influencer marketing, advertising, and social media manipulation. Basically, I do deep dives into how brands and certain influencers use deceptive tactics to sell us things we do not need. And now I am so excited to introduce a brand new series called Influencer Ad Fails, where we react to some of the cringiest, most misleading, and downright shady ads floating out around there on the internet. I have quite a few things to show you today, and this episode will be focusing around the Tradwife or traditional wife trend. So what we're gonna do is watch them, break them down, and unpack the messaging behind them together. I upload at least once a week, so if this kind of content is interesting to you, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment. It really helps support the channel and keep these kind of videos coming. With that, we have quite a bit to get into. I've taken one for the team and gone deep into the world of the Tradwife trend with a goal of trying to see what kind of ads make their way into my feed as I consume this kind of content. The first video I'm going to show you today comes directly from the queen of Tradwives herself, Ballerina Farm. And the product in question? The brand's very own Farmer's Protein Powder, strategically designed to appeal to a very specific audience, so let me know if you can spot what I mean by that in this video.
So we actually have some very exciting news.
Let's hear it.
That we just got in the mail. So we were working on a protein powder and we just got the first full bag in the mail with the packaging and everything, and I'm having a moment. It's so exciting. You know, anybody who's followed me for some time knows that one of my favorite things to do is to put maple syrup, a little bit of cinnamon, and a glass jar, and then when we go milk the cow, we just squirt the milk into it, and it makes the most delicious drink. That's the first flavor that's gonna go out, is our maple cinnamon protein powder that's made with colostrum, because that's another thing that I just love, is that amazing colostrum. The first few days of lactation, so just put a little lid or there. Okay.
So that video may seem very casual, like there wasn't much thought behind it. She just wanted to put out some good sentiments about getting her product in the mail and seeing the packaging for the first time. But I just want to get one thing straight right off the bat, and that is that Ballerina Farm is not just a person, it's a brand. So no, the video we just watched is not just a casual update from a mother excited to share her latest passion project, a recipe she maybe whipped up in her kitchen while her 8 kids napped. No, in my opinion, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is a meticulously crafted advertisement produced by a likely multi-million-dollar brand with over 20,000 followers across social media, with a full supply chain and a marketing strategy built around this romanticized Tradwife aesthetic. And I can just picture Hannah, the face behind Ballerina Farm, sitting on a Zoom call with her head of marketing, breaking down their target audience, fine-tuning the storytelling, and workshopping how to position and advertise this product. And I can just see the head of marketing lighting up and saying, oh, that story is gold. You have to share that story as part of this marketing campaign. And you know what story I'm talking about. The one that is somehow so picturesque and endearing, yet also kind of controversial enough to go viral. And that's the one about getting a mason jar out of their beautiful kitchen, heading down the pasture to the cows, mixing up a little 100% real maple syrup with a sprinkle of cinnamon, and then squirting a cow udder straight into the jar to get that warm, unpasteurized, fresh milk straight from the cow. And that's what I mean when I say this is not just casual content, this is powerful marketing storytelling. Because now this is not just protein powder, this is a portal. A golden-hued, nostalgia-drenched, idyllic farm life that just so happens to be available for purchase. And this is smart business. This product is miles away from the protein powder ads that we are so used to seeing even a few years ago. The ones plastered with words like bulk, power, and performance. No, the dream they're selling is soft, wholesome, maternal, nurturing. Ultimately, Ballerina Farm is not just selling you their products, they are selling you a lifestyle. The illusion that you too can live like an effortlessly graceful, endlessly fertile, farm-dwelling woman who bakes bread in between birthing babies and chugging raw milk. So going back to the video we just saw, it's clear. If you want this life, this femininity, this vision of womanhood, buy the overpriced protein powder. It's a good start at least. You're not consciously thinking, I need that $67 bag of protein powder. No, you're thinking that I want that life. I want this sense of slow living, this feeling. And then all of a sudden, that price tag doesn't feel so crazy anymore. It feels more like an admission fee to this new, better version of yourself. So like I said, I scrolled on Ballerina Farm a while to get a sense of this type of content and the ads that it would ultimately feed me, but I couldn't help but notice they have a wide range of products that they're selling here, but for the sake of time in this video, I just want to take a look at their protein powder to get a better understanding of how they are positioning themselves against the competition. Because again, this is not just a protein powder, this is a protein powder with a backstory. So let's go on this journey together. Farmer Protein Powder brings together the traditions of dairy farming with the breakthroughs in modern nutrition to create a product for those who believe that meaningful connections are built around the kitchen table, sharing simple, high-quality foods with those they love. After welcoming our first milk cow, Dandy, we grew to cherish the precious gift she gave us each time she birthed a calf. Colostrum, nature's first form of nourishment. Dairy cows like Dandy naturally produce more colostrum than their calves can drink, allowing us to enjoy this liquid gold in our home. And no, don't Google that at all. Don't look at any of the conflicting information out there on whether or not we're stealing this liquid gold from the calves that need it. Just pay no attention to that. Farmer Protein Powder combines Hannah's ingredient-conscious upbringing, Daniel's dedication to strength training and muscle building, and the wisdom of a certified nutritionist. Farmer Protein is created with every member of your family in mind, from children to adults. A wholesome addition to your daily routine, it nourishes the people you love with high-quality sourced plant and animal-based ingredients. Now let's take a step back to examine what is really happening here on this website, because this is not protein powder. This is aesthetic nutrition designed to fuel a certain lifestyle. And when we read through this description, we can see how powerful that feeling of nostalgia is here. A return to tradition, meaningful connections, the sacred ritual of gathering around the kitchen table. And then it introduces a discovery, something precious and rare, colostrum, which they literally describe in reverent tones as liquid gold. A miraculous byproduct of their sweet dairy cow that lives on their small farm that is definitely not a multi-million-dollar organization, Dandy. And this is where the marketing genius kicks in, because when you position something as special or scarce, or in this case even sacred, it no longer feels like just another thing on your grocery list. It feels exclusive, like something you have been chosen to partake in. And with all my opinions on Tradwives and ethics aside, I would go as far to say that I am very impressed by Ballerina Farm's marketing. But I definitely wouldn't go as far to say that I'm surprised, because Daniel, who was mentioned in this description as being the gym goer who is focused on building strength and muscle, yeah, his dad owns JetBlue. And yes, that JetBlue, the multi-billion-dollar airline JetBlue. So in reality, Ballerina Farm is not just some small family farm. This is an operation, likely fueled by insane wealth that can then be funneled into high-level marketing strategies. So what we get here is a brand that feels like it was built around the kitchen table, but in reality, it is functioning like a well-oiled machine. And again, the brand's ability to function as an influencer who does not have to disclose that these are advertisements, it is a clever loophole. And to be clear, I want to put it out there, I am not saying that creators should not monetize their content, far from it, in fact. But what I want to point out in this particular case is that we at this point have a brand that is functioning as an influencer. So instead of creating valuable content outside of simply selling you something, we really are just seeing a brand that is selling a lifestyle, that is selling a wide range of products. Now, with that said, we're going to watch one more Ballerina Farm video before moving on, but this time I just want you to pay attention to how you feel when you're watching this. Can you tell that this is an ad? Do you see that the product is the star of the show?
Yeah, baby girl.
The product is facing the camera. Very intentional choice.
So good.
And nice.
It tastes just like an orange julep.
Tastes just like an orange julep. What is an orange julep? It's like a creamy orange drink, apparently. So everybody's different, but for me, watching that clip was oddly relaxing. Even the brief sound of a baby crying in the background, it didn't feel chaotic. I believe that video was designed to evoke a feeling of peacefulness and contentment, and it worked on me. Now again, your reaction may have been different, but that feeling that comes up for us, that's what we want to pay attention to when we consume ads like this. Because that is exactly what this is, an advertisement. A stealthy one at that. Nowhere here is this disclosed as an ad, yet the presence of Farmer's protein powder so perfectly placed for you to see that beautiful branding. That is highly intentional. This is a classic example of product placement. And again, since the influencer is the brand, they technically don't have to disclose that this is an ad. And I bet if you started looking for these, you would start seeing them all over social media. And if you do, please send them to me, because I find this whole world of social media marketing and advertising fascinating, if not slightly scary. The laws and regulations are just not there to keep us safe from all the misinformation, the scammy advertising. It's a whole like messy world. And that is why I think it's so important for us to dive into this stuff and call it out for what it is. Because I don't know about you, maybe you also have people in your life who you've seen kind of fall for these kinds of tactics and even waste money on things that they don't need or things that are way overpriced. And that upsets me. I want to keep my friends and family safe from this kind of stuff because we all spend a lot of time on social media. I struggle with my scrolling time just like so many other people do. And I know that so many of us think that we're immune to this kind of stuff, but we're not. And I do think it's only going to get worse or more powerful. So before we move on, I do want to be clear. I am not saying don't consume Ballerina Farm's content. I will say that there are plenty of deep dives out there on the Tradwife trend that show just how harmful it can be. We don't want to see these traditional gender norms pushed. It kind of puts us back in time. I get wanting to slow down. Believe me, I'm from New England. Your girl grew up busy. But social media is very effective at radicalizing people to extreme levels, and that is something that is happening here in this Tradwife movement. It's very odd. Go find a good deep dive. We're not going to get into that here, but I also should mention here that we live in a capitalist society. Full transparency, I literally work in marketing. My brain has to live in this universe quite a bit. But again, let's call out these kind of manipulative marketing strategies for what they are so we can all have a bit of a healthier relationship with the constant stream of ads that we're continuously being fed when we're on social media. Because once you start paying attention, you cannot unsee this stuff. So that was kind of my theory here when I started engaging with the Ballerina Farm content. I scrolled through her profile for like 10 or 15 minutes, and I ended up saving the ads that I was fed from other creators during that scrolling process, and I included them here for us to react to. And let's just say the results did not disappoint. Okay.
I make my own beef tallow, and the only tallow I would ever buy off TikTok shop is this Cattle Creek beef tallow. It's a small family farm up in Ohio. 2 ingredients, 100% grass-fed beef and EVOO. First of all, it's truly unscented. They do have scents if you want them. Secondly, the fat. The fat is sourced. It's the suet. It's not just any fat that you just get at any random butcher. That means it's the fat around the kidneys that filter those vitamins. It has naturally occurring vitamins in here. Antibacterial, antimicrobial. It helps replenish the skin barrier. It's so amazing. It mimics the own fat composition in our own skin. Right now they're running special, buy 2 get 50% off. I will link them below if y'all are looking for a great Christmas gift. These are usually $40, so this is an awesome deal. You guys check it out.
Oh my gosh, did she just say $40? I guess I missed that the first time around. Well, I kind of loved that this was the first ad that was delivered to me while I was on Ballerina Farm's content, because when you think about it, the beef tallow trend really does align with the Tradwife trend. And I am not here to knock beef tallow. If I'm honest, the thought of rubbing fat on my face just kind of gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies. It's maybe not for me. But as someone who was a van life creator, I have lots of friends who are now homesteading creators. I get that there are many parts of the internet and many trends that can kind of speak to people who might be interested in a natural product like this. But when we look at it in the context of these Tradwife values, this isn't just about skincare. This is about rejecting modern science, going back to the ancestral values, about romanticizing an era where women literally made almost everything they had from scratch. And it's the same marketing playbook that we just saw from Ballerina Farm. Take an industrial byproduct and market as a natural alternative. And when we think about the dairy and beef industries as a whole, they actually have a long history of shaping public perception through very strategic marketing. From got milk to milk does a body good, to even government-backed campaigns that position milk as essential to a balanced diet, these industries have always been very effective at selling a lifestyle just as much as they sell a product. And here we go again, only this time instead of telling you to drink your nutrients, they're telling you to absorb them through your face. And just like that, beef tallow isn't beef tallow anymore. It's a statement. It's proof that you are in touch with your traditional values and that you too can reject soulless synthetic skincare for something more natural. And again, I'm not saying that I'm against shopping local or even going to your local farm to see what kind of products they have or trying out a beef tallow if that's one of their offerings. But when the message is that we're rejecting these soulless multi-million-dollar corporations, is that really what's happening here? Or are we just favoring the ones who do a better job of masking themselves? Well, let's look at the next one and see if we start noticing a pattern.
I don't care what this tastes like. I'm throwing it back every single day because the results that I've been getting from this stuff is insane. It's a full woman's multivitamin plus hair growth. Like, everything I need is in this bottle. It's literally hair growth in a bottle. Actually, though, it tastes pretty good. It's just like peach mango and it's kind of like a little treat. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend this supplement. I put every single person in my life onto this stuff because Mary Ruth does not lie. When she says hair growth, she means it, because also they only use clinically proven ingredients in their supplement. I only buy this on TikTok Shop because when I first got this, I overpaid for it in store. Like, literally overpaid, but at least now I know where to get it. Like, TikTok Shop is the place.
Yeah, of course this ad popped up while scrolling through Ballerina Farm's feed, because if there's one thing I've learned here, it's that this beautiful lifestyle, the effortless gracefulness, the golden hour simplicity, it's not just about the food, it's about you. Ballerina Farm isn't just selling products, she is selling a lifestyle and an image. One that is very much tied to her own beauty, her long, gorgeous hair, and her ability to be very stunning and done up with her makeup on, even when she has 8 kids that she is caring for, cooking for, running the farm, and running this brand. We are going to need a lot of products to keep up with her. And that is why this ad for this hair supplement fits right in. Because yeah, it's not just a vitamin, it's hair growth in a bottle. These simple designs, this artwork that feels like kind of a callback to product imagery from the 1960s maybe. I would also go as far to say that even the shift from a gummy or pill vitamin to a liquid vitamin that you take by the spoonful is even a callback to that feeling of nostalgia that we've already talked quite a bit about. It almost taps into our subconscious nostalgia of childhood when we would take medicine by the spoonful when our mothers were caring for us when we were sick. It's very subtle, but in my opinion, a very powerful signal that this is what is simple, this is what is natural, this is what is good for you. And if you're still not convinced that Ballerina Farm is selling beauty, just wait until you see this next ad. But first, if you've enjoyed this video so far, I would love if you would drop a like or a comment or even subscribe for future videos. And if you ever see anything out there on social media that you think belongs in this series, I would love if you shared it with me. All you have to do is follow the directions down in the description box below. Now let's jump back into this next influencer ad fail.
For working at a plastic surgeon's office, I learned so many things go into appearance besides Botox and filler, because when I first started working there, I didn't look my best. I'm surprised they actually even hired me. I definitely was a personality hire, and when they asked me if I was in my late 30s and I told them no, they wasted no time on my glow up process. If you know anything about plastics, the surgery lasts for hours. My ankles were swollen, my back was hurting, and all these girls would be bouncing around the office
full of energy and just so sharp. Like, they never skipped a beat, and I'm talking about the old ones too. I didn't realize they were old until I would use like millennial slang and they didn't understand what I was saying, and I was always like, how do y'all stay so on top of it? Like, my body is hurting, I've got these compression socks on like I'm 80 years old. And they were like, are you not taking your NAD? Like, why take NAD when there's Botox and filler? And they were like, no. Your NAD levels start dropping when you're in your late 20s, early 30s. And if you do not replenish it, you will visibly look older no matter how much Botox and filler you get. The aches and pains, you'll forget what you did the day before or the week before. The fine lines and wrinkles start to appear. And so they put me on to this NAD right here. It's by Ruse Research.
This is my arch nemesis. This
I was
NAD
no longer
product,
looking
I
crusty
swear.
dusty. Body wasn't hurting anymore. I'm gonna try and link it down below in this like cart right here. If not, I think it's like on my profile in my showcase. It's on sale right now.
All right, we're stopping this here. We're done with her. If you have watched my previous deep dive, I went so far into these freaking NAD supplements, the science behind them. It's very unconclusive, to say the least. This brand also engages with AI influencers to lie to you and continue to try to gain as much reach as they possibly can. The influencers who sell this product, like this woman, will literally say anything. They will whip up any story. They will make any claim in order to sell this product. It is so wrong and problematic to me. But in this situation, it makes a lot of sense to me that NAD is being shown on Ballerina Farm's page, because if you are somehow not familiar with the lore behind Ballerina Farm, she really shot to mainstream fame about a year ago when she competed in a beauty competition called Mrs. America and ended up winning, which would be totally normal if it weren't for the fact that this was less than 2 weeks after she had given birth to, I believe it was her 8th child. So for Ballerina Farm, the lifestyle that they're selling is not just about motherhood and nurturing and these beautiful golden hour moments on the farm. It is about staying young, fit, and beautiful. And most importantly of all, youthful, which is what these freaking NAD influencers love to shill. Because if you listen to these NAD influencers at age 30, which I'm going to be next year, you are going to be a shriveled up, ugly, old, wrinkly human. You need NAD to stay young, in their opinion. It's not true. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself there because, again, you can go down that whole rabbit hole if you're interested. But this next one, because of all of them, this one is the most ridiculous.
Sourdough starter for dummies. Baking with the sourdough starter is not only gut healthy for you, but it also has just a few ingredients, so it's not filled with a bunch of junk. And some people make their own starter from scratch, which takes about 7 to 14 days to get to the point where you can bake with it. Or if you're like me and you ain't got that much time, which I have started my own, but I highly recommend and prefer to just grab a dehydrated starter. Oh my god, it's like a tongue twister. I highly recommend to grab an established starter. My favorite one, I'm gonna link right above my name. I got it right here on the TikTok shop. It was literally 20 bucks. You can use coupons and get it for even less. I got it in the mail, and within 2 days, I was baking with it.
It feels like we're going so far trying to emulate this Tradwife lifestyle that we are coming out on the other side back into wasteful consumerism. Because here's the thing, I did a tiny bit of research, and I guess dehydrated sourdough starters are not a total scam. This is something that you can buy from maybe your local bakery or on an Etsy shop from a small business if you really wanted to. I guess the value might be in that you could buy like a 100-year-old dehydrated sourdough starter. I guess that there's some appeal to that. But again, that is very different from buying a $20 sourdough starter on TikTok shop. Plus for me, the appeal of having my own sourdough is the slow process of it. The slow fermentation, the daily ritual of feeding it, the patience it requires, the patience that I need to work on through hobbies like this. But with that, I should mention that as someone who has started quite a few sourdough starters and kept them alive for a good 2, maybe 3 months, if you haven't had your own sourdough starter before and you haven't gotten used to the process of feeding it and taking care of it, again, go to a local bakery, find somewhere local. But you and me, we will not be impulsively buying this off of TikTok Shop because we know this is not a shortcut friendly hobby. And ultimately, this is just a great example of what I find to be really wrong with this Tradwife trend on social media. Because the ideal that's being sold, while it does have some values that I admire, like self-sufficiency and getting in touch with nature and the slow cycles of living rather than being in this busy corporate lifestyle, I get that. But that is not, again, what's happening here when this trend makes it so easy for these influencers who we looked at in today's video who really don't offer any sort of valuable content. Instead, all they're doing is creating ads to sell you products. So am I saying that my friends Matt and Cass, who have a homesteading content channel, are bad for what they do? Absolutely not. They create incredible content with incredible value, and I am glad that they have sponsors who support them so that they can continue being creative and making this really cool channel. All I have an issue with here is these influencers who really only operate with one goal of selling you the Tradwife aesthetic while ultimately just keeping you locked into this cycle of buying, which social media is so effective at. So you want to be a Tradwife? Well, all you're gonna need is pre-made sourdough starter kit, heritage style aprons, hand-carved rolling pins, organic wheat grown behind a $5 million farmhouse, sacred protein powder, liquid hair growth, anti-aging supplements infused with the tears of your ancestors, $40 beef fat to get that beautiful glow. And while you're at it, if you're really going to go full Tradwife, you might as well buy every single product listed on the Ballerina Farm website, which means that you too can be a Tradwife at the low cost of
$1,119.
And on that note, that is everything I have to share with you for today's influencer ad fails video. Again, please go ahead and submit anything you find out there that could be part of the series using the instructions in the description box below. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I am so grateful that you're here. I hope you take a moment for yourself today. I'm going to go touch some grass, breathe some fresh air, and I'll see you back here next time.